Well, Republicans and conservatives need to face facts. The left seems to be a lot better at this politics thing than they are, and this week, Senate Democrats proved it again. They not only rejected religious liberty protections to redefine marriage, they also got a dozen Republicans to go along with them. A leftist activist group has also now announced a robust opposition research program against the Republican House members who are going to investigate the Biden administration come January. Imagine if Republicans had the clarity of mind and purpose to think of doing that before the Trump-Russia investigations or the impeachments. Nah, why bother? You know, Democrats know it's hard to separate the message from the messenger. Damage or destroy the credibility of the messenger, and the message falls apart. Republicans don't seem to get it. Additionally, organizations on the left are already working together to spend millions to prop up Joe Biden's wounded and adrift administration in advance of 2024. They're also pivoting to drive their agenda in state capitals as well. And the Republicans? Well, they're talking about hearings that Americans don't really believe will go anywhere, the pointless impeachment of a cabinet secretary, and fighting over the speakership, even though no viable alternative candidate has presented themselves. Folks, if you need to be in a political foxhole with any group of people, would you really choose the guys knifing each other or the ones with the latest laser-guided missiles trained on their enemy? It's no wonder Republicans have lost every major policy battle of the last 2 decades. Without transformative shifts in leadership and strategy, that doesn't appear to be changing anytime soon, I'm sorry to say. In this time of political transition in America, with Democrats trending socialist, conservatives need a totally new mindset and approach if they want to compete, let alone save the America that we once knew. For all of their criticism of entitled millennials, Zoomers, and snowflakes, Republicans long ago adopted their methods. They appear to be simultaneously afraid, vapid, and lazy. Republican leaders tend to view politics in terms of election cycles. Democrats view them as an unceasing ideological battle. Republicans look at the next 2 years. Democrats look at the next decade. Republicans are captivated by their reflection in the pond. The left throws a brick in the water and then watches the ripples advance. The GOP's lack of strategic vision and absence of prudent forethought or tactical innovation are allowing the left to erode the very foundations of this country. Welfare budgets continue to balloon, with more forms of government dependency created every year. Conservative think tanks may produce nice charts that help define the problem, but they have utterly failed to do anything about it. Polls are showing climate change hysteria, presented to young people in dramatically biased and unscientific fashion, is having a profound impact on the psyche of the next generation. Republicans have yet to settle on a fact and science-based message that will resonate with persuadable voters on the issue. Anti-white, anti-Asian, anti-male, and anti-Christian discrimination is now perfectly legal and acceptable, all in the name of equality. And for those girls who are looking for a fair shot at sports or anything else, you're out of luck too. Everyone from doctors to a Supreme Court justice suddenly can't or won't define what a woman is, and now that's apparently perfectly fine, along with allowing those young girls to sterilize themselves. Now, while Democrats are creating new genders and grooming children, Republicans' slim majority is already seeing more infighting. They may even vote for the Democrats' massive year-end spending bonanza. Former President Trump's ill-advised early announcement for re-election is creating even more division. Another GOP autopsy, I can't stand that term, like the one announced by RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel this week, won't fix the long-standing cultural and leadership problems in the party. It won't create the financial infrastructure necessary to fight the left on a more level footing, and it won't give lawmakers the courage to drive the agenda that America needs to thrive. Gimmicks and cheap publicity stunts by fringe figures in the party, like those challenging McCarthy right now, aren't going to win against the left. Political grifters who don't care about good policy or driving an agenda or even winning an election, for that matter, cannot be the dominant force in the GOP, as they arguably have been for decades now. There are no more political honeymoons, folks. Republicans need generational change. They need an aggressive shift in posture to tame the ravenous lion that is American government and its confederates in the media, tech, and education. They need to be as relentless as their opposition. And it will take much more than a California Republican House Speaker to fight and win.
No crooked establishment.
None of that twisting the truth.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax.
Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think.
They let
me decide.
Newsmax.
Real news
For real people.